The next engine to be tricked by Icky Licky was James the Red Engine, and Icky Licky knew it. He saw James chuffing down the tracks and said, "All right, two engines down. That big red monster is next. Soon the season of giving will be brought to a halt, and Santa will have no one to choose but us nightmare critters." James was chuffing down the track, taking Crafty Corn to the highest hill to go sledding. When James arrived at the top, both he and Crafty were surprised to see Icky Licky blocking his way. "Move, you toxic creature," shouted James. "This is no time for games." "Well, you want to race down the hill with me?" asked Icky. "No, thank you," said Crafty firmly, but also politely. "You'd be the worst sledder I've ever met." Then the two critters continued to bicker. Then there was trouble. Crafty Corn decided it was time to give Icky Licky a punch in the face. Crafty put up her fist and angrily sucker punched Icky in the face. He lost his balance and promptly fell backwards onto a wooden sled that someone had left next to a rack of other sleds. Then Icky Licky felt himself being carried while lying on his back. "Hey, what's going on?" he cried. "Stop! Stop!" But Icky couldn't stop, and he began to sled down the hill faster and faster. "Oh my," Crafty explained. "What have I done? I guess I'm a lot stronger than I think I am. Come on, James. We'd better stop him before he gets into an accident." And she hopped into James's cab and set off. Icky Licky was out of control and was left helpless against the sled he was on. He dodged trees, signs, and even people walking in the snow. He jumped over rails and was overall creating a huge chaos. "Someone on the sled is out of control!" exclaimed Peter Sam. "Alert the nearest signalman!" All of the trains on the main line were soon stopped in case Icky Licky veered onto the rails. Gordon was mildly infuriated. "I can't believe I'm being halted because a runaway sledder is on the loose," he said. "This is an outrage." Just then, Icky Licky came up on his sled he was on and made a sharp turn. Then, just like a motorcycle making a sharp turn, snow flew through the air and covered Gordon and his coaches. "Oh, the indignity," Gordon groaned. Icky Licky was causing chaos everywhere he went. He blew through snowdrifts, leaped over fences, and sprinted through rail crossings, leaving carnage and people watching from behind. "I need to stop," he panted loudly. "Where's a place I can get stuck?" "Oh, I know." Icky Licky managed to direct himself towards a pipe that small children would use for a sledding tunnel, but was unable to get stuck and bring himself to a complete stop. "Curse you for making that thing too large!" he shouted. Meanwhile, Edward had been rescued from the turntable, and James had puffed back without Crafty Corn. "Oh, you've finally gotten rid of that toxic frog," said Edward. "Yes, I did," said James, proudly. Actually, it was Crafty Corn who did. He wouldn't stop annoying us, so Crafty sucker punched him in the face, and he fell backwards, so to speak. "Well, I'm afraid," said Toby nervously, "you didn't do a good enough job. He's back, on a sled, and out of control. Look at him tearing up almost everything in his path." Desperate to stop, Icky Licky hit a huge bump in the snow, went flying off his sled, and landed in the pile of firewood where he finally came to a stop. Stars danced above his head as if he was feeling quite dizzy. "Well, somebody did end up in the firewood," chuckled Oliver. "Time to be burned, is that right?" "He's laid down quite a path of destruction," agreed Duck. "Just wait until the town mayor sees this." and the engines puffed away. Icky Licky was stuck, dazed, and humiliated. A few minutes later, Raby Baby flew over to see what had happened. Well, you've put on one heck of a show, she said, and after a few words were said from her, she picked up Icky Licky by the arms and flew him away to a large cabin where the nightmare critters had stayed in for the winter. That evening at the cabin, Icky Licky was warming up by the fireplace, confessing to the others about what had happened that day. Suddenly, the nightmare critters all heard a whistle coming from the front door. Then they all fell silent. "All right, I'm coming," said Icky Licky when he went to answer the door. And when he opened the door, there stood no one else but Percy, the small green tank engine. "Hi there, Mr. Toxic Frog," he said. "I came to tell you that your sledding performance was amazing this afternoon." "What do you mean it was, Percy?" Icky asked in concern. "With Dog Day's help," replied Percy, "my driver, fireman, and I all got it on video. And I told the news people all about it, and they said to me that it's going to be on the news tonight." Icky thought for a second. "So does that mean my sledding performance made up for all the bad things I did?" he asked. "It sure does," said Percy, and off he went. That night, the nightmare critters were all watching the news on the TV in the living room of the cabin. When Icky Licky's sledding performance came on, everyone was amazed. "I guess that does make up for all the humbugging you did," said Papa Chops to Icky Licky. "Your performance was great, I'd say," said Maggie Mecco. "So, does that mean Santa is still going to give us presents because I made up for what I've done, even though I been humbugging people?" "I hope so. Don't you?"